Welcome to another car review for your growing family. Subscribe to the channel and hit notifications because we put out brand new reviews every single week. But here's another new car for 2020. It's the Cadillac XT6. It's a mid-size 3-row luxury SUV, so it's sitting above the XT5 from Cadillac and just below the Escalade. And it's got a lot going for it. It really, really does. There's some things it does great, and there's some other things that really let it down. Could have been a home run. Let's go find out the good and the bad this week with the 2020 Cadillac XT6 on Family Wheels. So some top line details before we get to the good stuff. This is powered by a 3.6 litre naturally aspirated V6 putting out 310 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. It's joined to a 9-speed automatic transmission. In the States, you can choose between front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. In Canada, all-wheel drive is standard. However, you can select it just to run on 2-wheel drive with your drive mode settings. There are 2 trim levels. There's the premium luxury and there's the sport. So this one we're driving here is the sport. On the exterior, you've got things like black gloss, sporty trimmings, the mesh grille, the clear covers on the tail lights, some small things like that. And price-wise, this is starting at $61,000 in Canada for the premium luxury, up to $64,000 for the sport, and in the States, that's starting at $53,000 and up to $58,000. Fuel economy is not fantastic, to be honest, so you're getting about 9.7 on the highway. I actually got a little bit better than that. I got as good as 9.1 litres per 100 on the highway for a lot of it, but you're getting close to 14 in the city, and combined in the States, that's about 20 miles per gallon. And this car's up against some pretty heavy hitters too. So you've got the Audi Q7, which costs a bit more. You've got the Acura MDX and the Volvo XC90, which are similar price points. And then if you want to throw the Palisade and the Telluride into the mix as well, they are cheaper, yes, but they're getting some pretty good reviews in this segment. Let's get to the good stuff though. I think it looks fantastic. It's taken some styling cues from a concept car called the Escala, which came out of the Detroit International Auto Show not long ago. The exterior is wonderful. It's a really nice size for a 3-row. It's not too big and bulky. It's not too small. A good blend of elegance and some aggression to it as well. The interior, some of the really good stuff they've done as well, is the function aspects for a family and the size. So the back seat, you've got 39 inches of leg space on the second row. Those seats are comfortable. You can slide them back and forth. They also recline. The third row, you've actually got best-in-class headroom. So I jumped in there. You've got 29 inches of leg room in the third row, which is not huge. As an adult, I'm 6 feet tall. You're not going to have a long trip there. However, the headspace is really good. I actually, for the first time in a mid-size 3-row, head is not touching the top. So that's actually one of the pluses. And that third row is also push button. They collapse. You can push the button at the back, and then you can also do it just at the second row here. And also from the third row, you can get the second row to collapse forward. Trunk space is excellent if you've got that third row down. So behind that third row, you've got 12.6 cubic feet, which is about 356 litres. So in terms of our standardized test of a full-size stroller, it didn't even really fit. That took up everything. But then as soon as you put that down, you've got loads, 43 cubic feet or just over 1,200 litres of cargo space with that third row flat. So our standardized test, stroller, 2 bags of grocery, camera gear, soccer ball, not a problem. And that trunk space behind that second row is more than both the XC90 and the MDX, but not as much as the Telluride and the Palisade. If you want the most behind that third row, then you should check out the Telluride. The other thing is interior storage, and kitting it out for your passengers is excellent as well. There's lots of different little pockets to store things. The door bins aren't huge, however, they've made up for it in many other places, like your map pockets are decent size on both sides. The glove box is really big. This is a decent size. Under this console here, there's a whole nother storage tray there. In the back, you've got this other slide out storage tray. They've utilized all those bits of spaces for family use and for all your passengers. So that's something they've done really well. So obviously our rear-facing kids seat test, that is not a problem. You've got oodles of space in the front. I wasn't cramped at all. You'll be able to do a long trip with a rear-facing kids seat. That's not a problem. Adults in the second row, super comfortable also. It's nice sitting back there with this panoramic sunroof. It's also not too high, this car, so my kids can climb in by themselves. I've got a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they happen to get into the car no problem, and there's enough space in the footwell to get themselves onto their own seat. The doors, the second doors, the arches are big and wide, lots of space. You do not have to strain to get your kids into the seat, and the door also opens up to a really nice angle too. So it's all ticking the boxes for family functionality. More good stuff before we hit the road and get to the things that let it down. This is stacked full of features, driver assistance features and lots of other tech as well. And those driver assistance features also gets it a top safety pick plus from the IIHS and a 5-star rating from the NHTSA. So this has virtually everything in terms of all those driver assistance features. Let me list through them really fast for you. You've got an HD camera with 360-degree view. You've got a parking assistant with parallel and perpendicular. You've got a rear vision camera mirror, forward collision emergency braking, blind spot detection, lane departure and lane keep. You've got pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic, LED headlamps and running lights. You've even got a head-up display, hands-free power lift gate. There's a night vision feature. You've got all that and more, which we'll get to. And yet I'm still like, meh, it's okay. It's all right. And the main part that lets it down is just the finishings of everything and the quality of some of the stuff. That is the one thing that really lets it down. And most of that is evident right here for the driver. In this category, when you're going up to things like the interiors of Volvos with the XC90, which are really stunning and do a fantastic job, it just doesn't quite match up with the finishings of some of this and the quality of your knobs and buttons on the steering wheel and your climate control, which is sort of, it's not touch, but it's not your traditional tactile buttons. It's like you're pressing plastic. And it's just all of those things that just let it down at the final hurdle. Even things like the lane keep and the lane departure, that doesn't work as well as some of those other models like your Volvos, definitely not as good as your Hyundais or your Mercedes-Benz, so that lets it down a little bit. It's just, when you get in here, your little instruments here, they just don't feel as good. It's let down in that department. But you do have a lot of different luxurious features in here too. You've got a really nice wireless charging pocket down here, which tucks your phone away, and it also means that you forget that it's there, so you get out the car because you don't see it. It's also got vented and heated front seats, heated second row seats. The vented seats on the front are the loudest I've ever heard. Have a listen. They work, but they're loud. Actually getting a breeze on my back. Actually, that's quite nice. I stand corrected. Let the wind blow. Some of the other features on here too, it's got a trailer hitch feature on it. By the way, the towing capacity is 4,000 pounds, so not too bad. And if you want to line up your trailer, part of the camera, a feature on it allows you to do that. You've got an 8-inch screen on the infotainment system, which is a pretty good one. It's very responsive, it's very quick. I like how it's laid out on the side with your parking assistant. You can just hit that and it pops up really quick. You don't have to scroll through anything very far to get to the parking assistant, so that's all laid out well. And then it looks very sort of BMW-esque down here in terms of your control of it, and it does work well. Even though these buttons and the toggle feels pretty cheap, it works pretty well and functions really good. It's very responsive and very quick. You've also got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto as standard. You've even got a teen driver function, all right? Now, because this is Family Wheels, I should let you in on this. Let me read about it. This configurable feature lets you activate customizable vehicle settings associated with a key fob to help encourage better driving behavior. It can limit certain vehicle features and automatically turns on certain safety system if the vehicle is equipped. An in-vehicle report card gives you information on driving habits and helps you continue to coach your new driver. Awesome. You probably need some of them for dad as well, one would imagine. Some bad habits have developed. All right, road test time, let's do it. So your drive modes are down here. So as I said, you get front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, a choice in the States, but in Canada, all-wheel drive is standard. And your drive modes start with Tour, which is two-wheel drive. And then if you pop it just to the next driving mode, which is all-wheel drive, it does it automatically on the go for you. And then this is a sport mode, so you do have sport, and then you have off-road as well. So let's just do off the line here. It does have a bunch of torque steer when you're just in front-wheel drive, so let's feel that, and then we'll do another one just in all-wheel drive in sport. Jeez, like pulling everywhere. Wow, it's got a decent amount of power, 310 horsepower, V6, a 3.6 litre, so it's no slouch. It does feel a bit sluggish at times and a bit bulky. In terms of being a smooth drive, it's pretty good. The highway, the cabin noise is reasonably at a minimum for the highway. Drove it on a decent road trip the other day and it performed pretty well. Very comfortable on the highway. The adaptive cruise works pretty good, but the lane keeping assist is certainly well below some of the performance of things like your Hyundai and the Mercedes-Benz, which we test drove just not long ago. It's nowhere near those standards. Here's an interesting thing. I'd like to introduce the man spread test, which is when you want to man spread and drive like this, you need to have lots of space, but this one feels a little bit cramped for the knees. I'm a pretty slender dude and I wanted to sort of man spread it a little bit further, so bigger guys might want a bit more space from it. This has a twin clutch as well, so when you're in all-wheel drive sport, what it will do, it's got one for the left, one for the right, so it will get the right or the best amount of torque to all the wheels at any given time. And this has suspension damping, which I was very surprised with. All right, let's test our performance in all-wheel drive sport. All right, I'm not going to use paddles. I'll leave traction control on. Actually, I'll turn it off. 1, 2, 3, go. Bit sluggish down low for sure. 271 pound-feet of torque. However, that's available at 5,000 RPM. So it was a bit sluggish off the line there, but for a 3-row medium-size SUV, it's fine. It's fine. Won't set your world alight, but it's okay. Whoa, what was that? Can you hear that? That's steering on full lock. That doesn't sound nice. So that's the all-new 2020 Cadillac XT6. Hopefully you found this review useful. If you did, please leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel so you can catch brand new reviews every single week. Until next time, from Family Wheels, I'm Kai.